Legend of Total War here, and today we're doing a Doomstack video covering Yuan Bo's Jade and Jet Lion Doomstack. So these are the units that he specifically boosts. He also boosts the Onyx Crowmen, but they are basically identical to Carrion, so I would not make a Doomstack out of that. I'll talk about that unit at a later date. Now, these units are a tier 3 unit. They only take 1 turn to recruit each, so you can get this fairly early. It's only turn 46 in this campaign. We're going up against Clan Pestilence. I've tried to ensure that they come at us with a lot. Just went and besieged their capital, and they just swarmed straight on me. So, a little bit damaged over here, but I don't think it's going to matter that much. Just talking briefly about the differences between the Jade and Jet Lion. So the Jade Lion has higher melee attack and lower melee defense. These guys have higher melee defense, lower melee attack. These ones also have a little bit more charge bonus. These guys inflict the flammable stat when they're going to melee contact, which is why we've got a Banner of Eternal Flame, so they can actually capitalize on it, because they don't naturally have flaming attack by default. So you want to try to get that in there, unless of course you're going up against something that has a lot of flame resistance, like Chaos Dwarves or High Elves, although the High Elves not so bad these days. Now, the Jet Lion, this one here has the Disrupted ability. So this one reduces the physical resistance of units around it, and it also increases miscast chance, which that's not that big of a deal, unless you're specifically fighting a spellcaster that's going to overcast. Now, another thing is that the Jet Lions have more missile resistance, and the Jade Lions have physical resistance. They're not completely maxed out because it's still fairly early on in the campaign. I can't show things beyond a certain point, but I wanted to show a earlier game Doomstack that you can build before your campaign is essentially over, because this campaign, it snowballs out of control pretty quickly. Anyway, let's jump in here and see how we go. So some of the ways that Yuan Bo boosts these units is that he reduces the upkeep cost through his Lord trait by 30%, so you can get a very cheap army out of this one. But he also has a additional skill that gives these bonus versus infantry. So while they're not necessarily bad against large units, they're probably best against infantry units. Also, the Jade Lions, they've got a breath attack that's basically identical to the Yang spell, the Dragon's Breath spell. It's just green. And this one here has got Missile Mirror. So that's going to be very useful against units like Rattling Guns. But the Lions, I wouldn't send this up against a late game army, super late game stuff. So this is the biggest army that I could find in the, sort of mid game here. We'll let the Skaven get organized. And I'm actually going to keep these heroes out of the way, because we want to focus on the Lion units. Okay, just giving you guys a bit of visuals there, what they do. I think their animations are pretty much identical, it's just that one's green, one's black. So I don't really feel like they count as 2 full units, but whatever. Let's get into this and wait for their reinforcements. So again, these guys here have got Missile Mirror, they've got 2 bound spells of that. These guys here, the Jade Lion's Breath. I've gone completely down the melee line for Yuan Bo, so this one here has got that, this is the one we start off with, and these ones here I recruited as soon as I was able to. So this one's got extra 5 melee attack, extra physical resistance, and I think extra leadership. Yeah, that looks like it. There's no sense in fighting clan rats there. Now, one of the things that I'm trying to find within this campaign to do for these guys is find some way to heal them, but I can't figure out a way to heal them with Yuan Bo's army just by himself. He needs to have another lord follow him that has the bound spell Earthblood, or Miao Ying with Earthblood. Because I don't see any other way for him to heal, because they didn't get any new heroes, and the existing heroes didn't get any skill upgrades, so they've still got the same skill set they always had. So I'm just trying to figure out how to get some life magic to him without, using an exploit where you steal another character's life wizard. So the things with these units is that they appear to be very quick. Their base speed is 75, but you've got a fair bit of opportunity to increase their movement speed. So you can see this one here. Speed of 94. Now, it's actually possible in Yuan Bo's campaign to actually extend it even further, but that's unique to Yuan Bo's with his unique campaign mechanics, and that's with Realm of Chaos or Immortal Empires. I'm going to try to do this without casting any spells whatsoever, just rely on using these guys. Now, if we just throw them straight into melee, I don't think they're going to do very well. The way that I think that these guys work best is to use them similar to Brood Horrors. They hit and run. Okay. They're okay animations. They got a good amount of movement speed. They cause fear. They dish out damage pretty quick. Find an isolated target and smash it. So yeah, once again, I don't think this is going to be like a 10 out of 10 Doomstack or something that you should necessarily be banking on in the late stages of the campaign. But in the early stages of the campaign, this is pretty cost effective. You can really reduce the upkeep cost by quite a significant amount. And we'll see how much they can actually handle. Also, they've got the Strider ability. So fighting in forests is actually beneficial for them. Especially against missile units like this, so it provides missile block. You don't get a melee attack penalty in the forest. Alright. They're getting organized. Let's get ready to maybe pick up the guys at the rear. Actually, no, we don't need to go after the rattling guns, do we? Let's just charge straight in. And as soon as the rattling gun starts shooting, give them some missile mirror. Now, it's important these guys stick together, so they stack those debuffs. They're not firing. No point in putting missile mirror down if they're not going to actually shoot. Okay. This one here is shooting, but it's... Okay, they just want to get into a blob. Okay. Okay, I was prepared to have to deal with the rattling guns, but the AI is brain dead. Luckily, they don't have that many of them, so it's not like it's going to wreck their strategy that much. Now, in terms of monsters, these guys here are sort of like medium-sized monsters, so it's actually quite... Man, I just can't get over how dumb the AI is. They're not that vulnerable to missiles because they're... You know, moving around a fair bit while fighting, and I think they've got a mortis engine in here. I need to get rid of that. Yeah, like I said, not that vulnerable to missiles. They didn't even try to shoot it. Taking out single entities quite easily. These guys do not have that much experience. Okay, and we've got these here. May not even need to use the missile mirror, they're just refusing to shoot. Barely taking any damage so far. And we're going up against a lot of enemies here. Okay, this damn Plague Priest, he's on level 19, we want to get rid of him. They pulled out of that combat easily enough. Their mass is at 2,000, so yeah, they can pull through small infantry. They're not going to pull through dwarfs quite that easily. Yeah, try to get those charge bonuses wherever we can. But also, really important, make them fight as a single unit. Now, we could very easily boost them even further by popping down transmutations of lands and Curse of the Midnight Wind down in here, but as you can see, they don't seem to need it. This is on very hard battle difficulty. Oh, you want to do that? I'm fine with that. Are you going to do it? Now they refuse to shoot. We're not really vulnerable to Warpfire throwers in the first place. Unfortunately, it doesn't last long. You've really got to be doing it right when they're shooting if you want to use missile mirror correctly. I want to do this again. Yep, they're hurting themselves. Yeah, there we go. Now the enemy should, I think, still have... Yeah, they've still got reinforcements left. Okay, make sure they get together again. Sometimes they'll fight. Just get away from each other. Use them as one single unit. Fight back to back. Because it's harder for the enemy to surround and hit you and get that sort of... If they hit you in the back, you have reduced melee defense. And if you fight like this, they really can't hit you in the back very easily. So fighting all these single entities as a single unit, in a way, increases your melee defense considerably, which is why we're just not taking damage. And even if they had the rattling guns shooting at us, that actually would have made it easier to kill them, because I would have just done this, because we get plenty of it. I tried to make it half and half, but I think there's one extra Jet Lion than Jade Lion, because I kind of feel like the Jet Lions are better. Even though they're exact same upkeep, recruited from the exact same building. I just kind of feel like the Jet ones... This one here is a bit more useful for them than this ability here. So these ones will naturally do more damage, while these ones will naturally not take as much damage. Also, this one here, Jet Lion, provides spell resistance in an area, and this one provides power recharge rate, so we got a lot of half arcane conduits there. Also, another thing is that this one, the Jade Lion, is Yang Harmony, and these ones are Yin Harmony. So having a mix of them, you get your Harmony bonus, which is providing, for this one, speed, reload, skill, and leadership, which obviously isn't that important, because it's not actually a missile unit. But this one here, it gets melee defense, melee attack, and leadership. So the Yang bonus is a lot better for this unit. So actually, maybe the Jade Lion is slightly better than the Jet Lion, because their Harmony bonus for these ones is garbage. Because that is... The Yin are missile units, so it's friggin' useless on a Yang unit. On this one. In fact, this might be the only Yin unit in the game that's actually not a missile unit. Probably should do something about this. I think I'm out of the breath attacks now. Yeah, used them all up. There's also a few more technologies I could research to boost their stats just a little bit extra. Not by anything spectacular, but just a little bit here and there. How much is left still to come in? It's just about... Oh, hang on, there's another army over here. Okay. In many ways, though, if you want to get the strongest use out of these units, you'd actually be better off using it with Miao Ying, because healing them will provide a lot more value than just reducing the upkeep costs, especially since Cathay's economy is pretty damn good. Well, I didn't even really need to use them as hit and run. We just threw them straight into combat and they were fine. And they took out that big monster, well, the plague furnace, really easily. They seem to be struggling a little bit with the smaller dudes, but I think what's happening is they're just constantly knocking it on the ground. Because their melee attack's decent for a mid-tier unit. Skrulk's going down. How much damage did Skrulk end up doing? Quite a bit. This one here didn't do anything. So the amount of bonus versus infantry we got, I think it's 6? No, 8. Okay. So good kills on all of them so far, and I don't think any of them is even down to half health yet. Now, unlike the Terracotta Sentinels, these guys here are not unbreakable. I didn't even use them. Yuan Bo is actually a really good fighter, and the thing is with him, he's excellent at taking out any kind of character at all. With this ability here, that just fucking annihilates characters. So if we want to get rid of them, let's go bring him in and use this ability here to just clean this up a bit quicker. But he's probably the best out of the 3 Dragon Lords that are currently available in terms of just melee capability, especially in regard to dueling. I just kind of figured that him being the Jade Dragon, that he would have access to life magic, but his big thing is light magic, which doesn't really help that much here. I didn't even focus on his magic that much. Overcasting Blossom Wind is okay. This definitely would have gone a lot quicker if I used the magic. And I'm sure some people will ask, why'd you bother putting in wizards into the army if you weren't going to use it? Well, of course you're going to want to have the wizards in the army, but the whole point of this video is showcasing the new units. You've seen Heaven's Magic, you've seen Metal Magic, you know what it can do. I think the point is, the Order Resolver said decisive defeat, and we held back and still whooped their ass. Okay, so if you just pop this down, it's like a direct damage spell, and it just basically instantly kills them. Just like that. It's really good. And having him pop down stand your ground would definitely be helpful on these guys here, get a bit of extra melee defense. But at this point here, not a single one of them is down to half health. So they could have very easily just done it without Yuan Bo's. This is just, without Yuan Bo's assistance, this is just a way to speed things up a little bit. Because we are going up against a lot of rats here. And like I said before, being in the forest doesn't hurt them. They all have the Strider ability.
Emperor's Executioner.
It's not army losses. They're just being cowards.
Positioning is all. The heavens bring celestial wrath.
Okay, whatever. Almost killed that one. Took up like half of its health with one go with that. Almost half. Okay, so another thing to note about playing as Cathay. So obviously I'm on like patch 4.0, which is still subject to change a little bit. But one thing that I'm sure a lot of Cathay players are going to ask is the bug that... Is the bug still in the game where when you transform into a dragon, you get stuck and you can't move? And I can confirm without a shadow of a doubt that that bug is still in the game. I've encountered it about 3 times in this campaign already. So yes, be careful about turning into dragon form, because sometimes they just can't move. They just get stuck. The battle's not over. But another thing that I can mention about Cathay, it does seem as though confederations between legendary lords are a lot easier. So as I said, it's turned 46 in this campaign already, and I have long since already confederated Miao Ying and Zhao Ming. That happened ages ago. Although, to be fair, both of them got wounded, one after another. Miao Ying got wounded fighting against Eshin, and lost all of her armies. And that made the confederation really easy. And then Zhao Ming wasn't wounded, he just confederated. He was just a bro. So it's a lot easier to confederate with Cathay. Because I know that's been like a big problem with Cathay previously, just impossible to bloody confederate their legendary lords. Where the hell's the rest of their army? Okay, I think there's the army losses. Alright, cool. Heroic victory. So once again, this was on very hard battle difficulty. So that means that the AI was getting bonuses. Their stats were a bit higher. Obviously, they were using mixed tiered units because it is still relatively early in the campaign. And that's really the point of this one here. That this is not something I think is going to work especially well going up against Rite of Primeval Glory armies. Like, they might be able to handle the odd dinosaur here and there, but it's not something that you should use to just solo endgame crisis armies. This is something that, in the early stages of the campaign, if you want to rush it, you totally can. It's not expensive to get, and I'll show you what you need to do to get it, and how quickly you can manage it. And I think this is something that you can take into the Empire, if you wanted to fight the Empire, because this is very much an anti-infantry army. But if you're going up against big monsters, nah, I wouldn't do that. Especially big monsters with anti-large, they'll probably knock them around. Now, of course, I might just be overlooking something with Cathay for Yuan Bo, in terms of healing for these guys here, but if there was some way I could figure out to get Yuan Bo to be able to heal them, then that would seriously increase their rank in my eyes, because we could have walked out of this with essentially no damage in the battle if we had some way of healing them. But the only character that is going to be able to do that is Miao Ying. Who cares? This entire campaign was set up just to test out the mechanics. I'm just messing around in Lustria. Let's get to the next turn, and we'll go through all the stuff with Yuan Bo that makes this army worth it, I think. Diplomacy. Okay, so this army is costing me 3,350, so each one of them costing 118. That is with 8 supply lines. So if we have a look at Yuan Bo here, is at rank 37. The Jade Administrator, he reduces the upkeep cost of them by 30%. Same thing with the Onyx Crowmen, but honestly, Onyx Crowmen, they're just carrion. I don't even understand the point of them in this roster. If we have a look at his skills, we've got, where was it? where was it? It's in here somewhere. Yeah. Bonus versus infantry for Jade Lions, Jet Lions, and Onyx Crowmen, all armies. So you could just confer that bonus straight onto Miao Ying. She actually might be better at commanding them. But the thing is, she's already got a really good Doomstack with, like, Celestial Crossbowman. Celestial Dragon Crossbowman. So looking at the Stone Gaze over here in the Red Lions skill, provides 12 extra armor, 12% extra weapon strength, unified charge, which only one of my Jade Lions had. So it got extra 10 speed, 5 melee attack, and 10% physical resistance. But as you can see, these guys handled the Skaven quite easily. They went from 3 experience. They've all gained at least 1 experience, except for the one that was at rank 7 to begin with. Now, in terms of rating, oh, hang on, I'll show you where I recruited from. So this is where you start your campaign. So I recruited them at Pahoax. I actually got a secondary army to recruit it because Yuan Bo was down here with his starting army. And I just recruited it from here and then just brought it down this way and just transferred it over to him. So I had the army recruited by turn 30, 35 I think. But it took me 10 turns to actually deliver it to him. So it's from this building here where you get the Astromancer. You've got the Jet Lion and Jade Lion. Same recruit costs, same upkeep costs. And they take 1 turn to recruit each. So you can get it very early on. So in the overall rating of this particular unit, which it's hard to call this one 2 different units. It's like 2 sides of the same unit, really. Anyway, in terms of cost effectiveness, it's pretty damn high up in terms of score. It's really convenient to recruit this unit, and in the early stages of the campaign, there's really nothing it can't handle. It's pretty good in auto resolve. Obviously, we got a decisive defeat in that situation there, but that was against 4 armies coming at us. But if you have to fight the battle manually, it was very easy to use. So it's very convenient, it's easy to use, but its strength ranking is sort of medium high. Good in the early stages of the campaign because you can get it quite early, but I don't imagine this is going to be particularly good against certain factions later on in the campaign, especially ones that bring big monsters. If you intend to use this army in the late stages of the campaign, I would send it into factions that don't have big monsters, such as Dwarfs or the Empire, or yeah, that's basically it. It would be pretty effective there. Otherwise, you've got to be very careful or have some backup. Having a regular Lord, let me see if I've got one here. This one here, the Dragon-Blooded Sugar Lord, if it's got Bound Earth blood here, you could have this one trail you a little bit, and that way it can provide a little bit of healing, but you only get 4 uses out of that. Because healing provides so much value to single entity armies. So that's my rating of this one here. I would highly recommend giving it a go. That's, of course, if you get the DLC. Obviously, there's controversy at the moment. I fully expect that a lot of you guys aren't even going to get the DLC. But for those of you who are going to get the DLC and want to try out the Jade Dragon Doomstack, I think it's pretty good. Nothing fantastic. Try it in the early stages of the campaign, and then if you get sick of it, ditch it for something else later on. Perfectly fine, I think. Anyway, that's the end of this one here, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this Doomstack. Appreciate you, and we'll see you next time. Later, guys.